The point of this episode, though, is I want you to understand that last year in the mastermind I was in, I remember one of the other participants talked about, like, we were talking about kind of what our dream was. And this person talked about like her dream was to like stand in like packed arenas spreading her message. And at the time I was like, well, that's kind of weird. Because at the time I was basically, the legal guy and maybe kind of stepping into this fan's first idea, but I didn't have this message that I wanted to have that vision for. Well, let me tell you, life has changed for me. Me finding my voice and finding my message, I want to scream these things from the rooftop. I want to grab people by the lapels and kind of shake them and say, you need to hear what I'm saying. This is so important if you're trying to build an online business. And that level of passion, I'm thankful for. Welcome to the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast, where being a badass has less to do with what you wear and what music you listen to, and everything to do with whether you've got the thriving online business of your dreams. I'm your renegade thinking Harvard Law grad turned online entrepreneur host, Bobby Klink. In my years building my thriving business, the most important lesson I've learned is that being a badass online marketer isn't about secret strategies or ninja tactics. It's about doing the basic stuff right and showing the F up. So each week here on the show, you'll get clear, easy to execute guidance on how to build your online business and a swift kick in the ass or two to make sure you're getting it done. Hey there, welcome to episode 184 of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Klink, and I'm excited for today's show because I'm going to be doing one of the things that I love to do the most. Specifically, I'm going to be showing some gratitude. It's Thanksgiving week when this episode is coming out, and it's clearly going to be a different kind of Thanksgiving. My family, we're just doing Thanksgiving with my wife and daughter, no extended family. We are not spending any time with others because of COVID, because of what's going on in the world. And it's a time that I think it can be hard to find the things that we are thankful for. It can be hard when we're facing the things we're facing these days to look back and just take time to show gratitude. And that's what I'm going to do. And specifically in this episode, I'm going to talk about things that I'm thankful for in my business this year. I want to do it because I want to take time to encourage you to do the same thing. To look back at the year that's been and to find the things that you can be grateful for, that you can be thankful for, the things that went well. Because I truly believe that we all have those things in life, in business, in everything. It's why in my coaching, my group coaching program, the thing we start every single session with is I have everyone say something they are grateful for or something that they had that's a win. And so the point of it is really just to get people to focus more on the things that are going well, because I think that's an important part of life. So I'm hoping that this episode will kind of encourage you to do the same in your business. But I think there's also some tidbits here. So that's what we're going to be doing in this episode. But before I dive in, this episode is brought to you by my 3-day virtual event, which is actually happening next weekend. So not Thanksgiving weekend, but the following weekend, December 4th through 6th. It's called Badass Online Marketing Live. And it's a 3-day event that's all about helping you to build a business that you love and that makes you money consistently. So that's what we're talking about. We're going to be diving into a lot of great stuff. We're going to be diving into a lot of kind of, the new things that I found in my business over this year. So if you're interested, if you want to get 2021 off on the right foot, head over to bobbyklink.com/bomb live. That's BOM live, bobbyklink.com/bomb live to get all the details. Now, with that, I've kind of, look, I could find all kinds of things to be grateful for in my business, small, large, etc. But I wanted to kind of try to keep this in manageable chunks. And so I picked 4 big things, like 4 kind of big changes, big things that I just am lit up about in my business. And they're all things that came about this year. And so I wanted to focus on those. The first is, in many ways, I would say the most important, which is that I have truly found my voice and my message. This may sound like, kind of crazy to a lot of people because, if you're new here, maybe you think, man, I listen to you, Bobby, and you seem to be, you seem to be really confident in what you're saying and your messaging, et cetera. And I am. But a lot of people, I think, believe that maybe I was born with that. And I was born with some self-assurance, that's for sure. But I can tell you that the messaging and really finding how to describe these things wasn't something even that came naturally. I worked at it. I spent time. And I also spent time doing the deep work. And so, my messaging now, when I'm talking about how we need to get out of the online marketing echo chamber, how we need to look at what other people are doing, how we need to have a more holistic approach to marketing, all of those things, I have to be honest with you, those are things that I've kind of been thinking and doing and kind of behind the scenes have been part of how I've built my business from the get-go. I tell the story all the time about how my dad had some very valuable lessons to me, like the sign he had on his desk when he ran a chain of drugstores. It said there are 2 rules of business. Rule number 1, the customer is always right. Rule number 2, if the customer's ever wrong, refer back to rule number 1. And it's kind of a funny sign, obviously, but it was an ethos. It was an idea that has always been part of how I have viewed business. And so I think the fact that that's always there was nice, but I didn't know how to put it into words. And I have tried, in different ways. When I was stepping into being a business coach, it started with my Fans First Society, which was all about the notion of cultivating raving fans, because that was something that I found that I was doing differently than most people. And then last year in October, so October of 2019, when I rebranded from Your Online Genius to BobbyClink.com, I really leaned into this notion, and I think it was like episode 101 of the podcast is when I really kind of leaned into this notion that building a good online business, building a thriving online business isn't about ninja tactics or secret strategies. It's about doing the basic stuff and doing that stuff well. And so that was, kind of me stepping into it even more of saying, hey, all this like noise that we're hearing, all of that isn't there. But I had all of these different threads in my mind. And it's kind of funny because the actual me truly finding my voice and truly finding the confidence to step into this voice has been a journey this year. Because I'll be honest with you, as I was talking about these things earlier, it felt weird to me. It felt weird because I was saying things that were different. I was saying things that put me at odds with other people, with my peers, with my coaches, with my mentors. And it felt odd. And that, I'm not going to lie to you, because one of the things I tell my audience and one thing I want for you is as you're building your business, you need to find your message. And part of that message needs to be what you believe that's different from what other people believe. And I want to help you and give you permission to understand that that's going to feel uncomfortable. Even as, kind of self-assured as I am, and, maybe I even come across sometimes as cocky and someone who doesn't worry about these things, even for me, this wasn't something where I was like, woohoo, let's jump out and talk about how everybody else is wrong. That's not what happened. But I have done the deep work, and part of that deep work this year, and I talk about this in some ways, if I actually start the movement that I want to start and it's successful, and some of the folks who maybe don't like the message that I'm, putting out to the world, they should blame the fact that I signed up for some marketing courses, some true marketing courses where I dove into actually marketing fundamentals. not the stuff we're being taught by all of the other folks online. I got myself out of the echo chamber. I got myself out of focusing on, what's called direct response marketing, which is most of what we're being taught, where everything's a funnel. Everything is like trying to get someone to click a call to action and all those things, but instead looked at marketing more broadly from the perspective of how do people outside our world market? And when I did, again, in some ways I could say my eyes were open, but that's not really true. What happened for me in that moment was the things I'd been thinking, the things I'd been saying, the approach that I had taken to building my business because I had learned from my dad, who was building a brick and mortar business my entire life, had basically been consistent with what marketing theory was. And taking that marketing theory allowed me to put words to it and to translate it into the online world that we live in, to talk about the things of how does this apply? How do these general fundamentals apply to someone building a personal brand selling information products or services in the online world? And so again, it coalesced. I'm thankful for so many things, including that I was, crazy enough to sign up for marketing courses, right? Most people wouldn't do that. But my decision to do that is part of what gave me this confidence and gave me this notion of actually looking and seeing, online marketers aren't ahead of their time. To the contrary, online marketing is living in a world that the rest of the marketing world started to give up in the 1950s. And it opened my eyes to see the notion that when you look at a lot of what we're doing or what, the status quo conventional wisdom in the online marketing world is, it reminds you of bad infomercials with but wait, there's more. And the stacking incredible amounts of value because otherwise people aren't going to buy your crap. And that came through to me, and I had that clarity, and that's my message. And what I want to talk about for a second before moving on to the next point, I won't belabor the point. If you haven't listened to my messages over the last 3 months on this podcast, go back and listen, and you'll hear me talking about this a lot. The point of this episode, though, is I want you to understand that last year, in the mastermind I was in, I remember one of the other participants talked about, like we were talking about kind of what our dream was. And this person talked about like her dream was to like stand in like packed arenas spreading her message. And at the time I was like, well, that's kind of weird, right? And again, it's weird for people, I think, to hear me thinking that was weird now, but at the time it seemed so foreign to me. Because at the time, I was basically, the legal guy and maybe kind of stepping into this fans first idea, but I didn't have this message that I wanted to have that vision for. Well, let me tell you, life has changed for me. Me finding my voice and finding my message, I want to scream these things from the rooftop. I want to grab people by the lapels and kind of shake them and say, you need to hear what I'm saying. This is so important if you're trying to build an online business. And that level of passion, I'm thankful for. And I want you to understand it's a level of passion I've found that, to use the old expression, it's like a hill I'm willing to die on. And that means if I piss off people who are my friends, who are my mentors or whatever, by spreading this message, I'm willing to do that. And that's not something I could have said a year ago. That's really not something I could have said 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I would have been worried. I would have been, oh man, is this going to upset and et cetera? I shouldn't live in that world. I shouldn't be worried that I might say something that I truly believe in. Like I shouldn't not be willing to say that because it might upset some people. Now, I don't say things to upset people. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not suggesting that you say things to upset people. What I'm saying is, as much as I talk about more cowbell and I talk about, being willing to take a stand, it is hard to do. And what I believe is that until you find that thing that you're passionate about, it's even harder. Well, now that I've found it, I have no worries about it. I am willing to die on this hill. I am willing, to kind of spread this message from the rooftops, even if it means that some of the people, who are my peers, my mentors, etc., kind of get uncomfortable with what I'm saying. Because my message is more important than the other things. And I'm thankful for that. And that's something I wish for you. If you're not there yet, I hope that in 2021, you can get to the point that you have that message, you have that movement you want to start, you have whatever it is that you're willing to shout from the rooftops, not just willing, that you want to shout from the rooftops. So that's the first thing. I'm thankful that I truly found my voice and my message. Now, the second thing is a more kind of practical thing. I'm thankful that I launched my email course. I've been known for my emails, and my emails have started to get me a cult following since, I don't know, sometime in the fall of 2018. It's been 2 full years, and I had this notion in 2019 that, maybe I'll create an online course. Maybe I'll do that. Like last fall, I think it would have been in about September, October, I had that thought. I said, it'd be cool to create an online course about email. But I got talked out of it. I got talked out of it because they're like, you've got other things going on and maybe you shouldn't. And I was in this world, and let's be honest, we have to focus on things. We have to, kind of focus our attention on one place. We can't do a million things at once. And that was the rationale that was given. And so I didn't do it in 2019. But in 2020 and early this year, I was having people asking me more and more about the email stuff as I was kind of incorporating email training into the other business stuff offerings I had. I had people asking me for it. And I got to be honest, like, email is something I have a passion for. I love it. I enjoy doing it. I think it's something that everyone could use in their business. And I think it's something that most people are doing wrong, partly because we're being taught wrong to think of it in direct response marketing. Again, my approach to email, like everything else I do, was never consistent with what the traditional, conventional wisdom in the space is. I believe, and I teach my students, that the weekly emails aren't about getting a click. They're not about that. They're about building connection with your audience. And when you do that, if you do the weekly emails right, the sales emails are easy. And they're easy because you have built this connection. You've done more than simply say, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, or do this, do this, do this. And so that's my approach. And I taught that in the course, and people have gotten fantastic results. And so I'm thankful that that's out there. I'm thankful that I have it. We are, candidly, we did it as a, sell it before you make it. We had the idea. We launched it back in March with kind of a pre-sale. People bought it, and we created it as we went. And we have done a couple of flash sales of it at times, and we are working after my event, which is coming up again in less than 2 weeks now. We will actually get back to the process of creating kind of the evergreen way to bring people in, help them see it, and help them understand the value and purchase it. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that I will close out 2020 with an email course that I love and that I'm proud of. So that's thing number 2. The third thing that I'm eternally grateful for and so thankful that's changed in my business is that I'm now working closely with people. And this is something that is kind of funny. And I hear so many entrepreneurs say this. I'll hear people say, well, we're not supposed to do one-on-one work. We're supposed to do scalable work, and we're supposed to. And, I hear that a lot. And I think a lot of us hear that because a lot of us hear the message that having an online course or having a membership or having whatever it is the ticket out of one-on-one work. And so we're conditioned to believe that kind of working closely with people in a one-on-one environment or in a very small group is not the way to go. And I'm not going to lie to you. It's not necessarily, the way that you'll make the most money, but what I would tell you is that doing one-on-one work, if you have established yourself and established a kind of skill set, can be plenty profitable. and can be can be a way to build a business. And now I'm not building a business exclusively on one-on-one work, and I'm not saying that. But I've done a few things this year that I have loved. One is I created my coaching program or my mastermind coaching experience. And that's something that I have loved, working with people over now almost an entire year in a close setting, to see them thrive, to see the different things that have become possible in their lives because of the work we do together. And I don't take credit for it. It's not that I'm doing it. I'm helping them find what is right for them. I've seen people, one of the folks in my coaching program who talks about this, named Melanie. At the time she joined it, she was building a membership site, I believe it was, about the idea, or not the idea, but about gluten and dairy-free baking. And she was doing that, but also doing some VA, virtual assistant work on the side. And over time, she recognized that she actually enjoyed doing the one-on-one service work more than the other. She's pivoted and is on her way to an amazing year. And that has been so fulfilling to see. But I could talk about, there's Halima who is in my coaching program. And just to see, like, sometimes, like, her face will light up. People say that my face is a gift maker. And what I would say is Halima's face is a smile maker. She will light up about things and just have these amazing, moments where I see these glimmers of joy on her face. And I can tell you, that makes me so happy. Or my friend Anna Nelson, who was on my podcast recently and is going to be one of the speakers at my event, who has built a business. She pivoted from what she was doing. Her kind of technical skill is in being a Gallup certified strengths coach. And she's pivoted and is building a business. And I worked with her, and oh my God, is she amazing at what she does. And seeing that happen and seeing again the joy on her face has been unreal. And I could go on and on about the other folks. I could talk about Ellen, who's, building an amazing business that has everything to do with needlepoint. I always joke, I still don't understand exactly what it is. I understand it's something about making these beautiful, hand needlework projects, and she'll show some to me, and I'm like, that is just amazing. And so I see that, and it makes me unbelievably happy. And I'm enjoying all of these things. I enjoy working with the folks in my coaching program because I enjoy that kind of connection with people. But it's not just the group coaching program that has been amazing. And again, part of this, after working with Anna Nelson and doing my strengths and having my team strengths assessed, one of the most amazing things was my team had an insight that maybe we should put out an offer to do VIP days, to work, literally meet directly one-on-one with people for, at the time it was going to be one day, and we've since created it. We have half-day options, we have one-day options, and then we have two-day options where it's me and my team digging in and helping people like build out a funnel. And doing those things was all this idea from my team seeing my strengths and saying, hey, maybe you ought to do some of that stuff. And we did it. And it's been the joy, not the joy, but one of the joys of my business over the last 3 months. We started literally in August, and we've done it multiple times since. And every time seeing the results, seeing what people walk away with has been amazing. And, candidly, it's fun because I get to exercise my influencing and my strategic thinking and all these kind of, superpowers that I have. And that has been so much fun. And so again, I have bucked the trend of saying, make it scalable. And I'm so thankful that I have. I've enjoyed working closely and directly with people. It's something that we will continue to do. And candidly, as I'm looking towards 2021, more and more, I want to build my business around helping people implement what they're doing. Not charging a bunch for training, not that kind of stuff, but helping people actually do the stinking work. Because as much as we hear that knowledge is power, that's just not true. Knowledge gives you the ability to be powerful, but you have to actually implement it. You have to apply it. You have to do the work. And as I've seen what's happening, I see so many people who collect courses, who take a bunch of stuff, but never take action. And I want to break them out of that cycle. And so that's what I'm thankful that this has started in 2020 for me. And I look forward to doing it even more in 2021, to really digging in with people and helping them do the stinking work. So that's the third thing that I'm thankful for, working closely with people. And the final thing that I'll mention, I've talked about it before, and I just want to be clear, this could have and should have been number one. I kept the best for last, if you will. The fourth thing that I am so grateful and thankful for is my team. My team is amazing, and I look at the change that's happened in my business, in my world, and in my life because of my team, and I am in awe. And it's funny because the journey started a little over a year ago. It was November of 2019 that Katie, who's now my integrator, came on as an online business manager, basically a contractor, spending half of her time on my business, helping me kind of build things out, helping me think through these things, helping me organize. And that was after, she had been a project manager for me for my rebrand before, but that was a project, whereas this role she started in November was really more diving into my business writ large. And I got an executive assistant at the time, and I made the mistake of hiring through an agency that was charging way too much for it and keeping, I'm guessing, 50% or more of what I was paying them, in spite of the fact that after they'd found the person, they really did nothing. So I had to part ways with her, but have sent her to many of my clients and friends who love her work. But she shifted out, and we found another executive assistant. But so now I have Katie in place. That started about a year ago. Those of you in my community know Bobby Joe, who's now my community manager, who came on initially in a contract role in January, but then as an employee. And there's now Shelly on my team, who's helping me with content and helping Katie with funnels and marketing issues. But our vision is that Shelly will grow into the role of taking over the lead of my content team. Bobby Joe handles what's called my fulfillment team, which is customer support and making sure Bobby shows up when he's supposed to show up and making sure people get what they're supposed to get and get an amazing experience, and managing my communities. And then Katie, who's my integrator, is also in charge of my growth team, which is basically the marketing arm of the business. And I could not be prouder to have this team at my side. It's amazing in so many ways, including that they are a well-oiled machine, that they will literally do things that I don't even know they're doing, and it's just done. For those of you who've grabbed your ticket to Badass Online Marketing Live and who have joined us in the No Excuses November and have seen all the prompts, the workbook we put together, all of that was kind of the brainchild of Bobby Joe, and she got some input from Katie and, worked with me quickly. But it's just amazing to see that you can not outsource. You can have members of your team, when they're in the right seat, can do just amazing work. And seeing that happen gives me so much joy. It makes me so thankful. But at the same time, Shelly stepped into the role and she stepped into the business and started with us in August of this year, which, if you've been with me for a while, you might bring your memory back to August. We decided effectively to simultaneously run 3 different promotions in August on the fly, in addition to, putting it out an email and doing VIP days for the first time. That's not even one of the promotions we were running. And Shelly stepped in to the fire and, lent a hand at all those things, but has helped us also with, getting some things like, on the marketing side all set up. And she has been helping me with creating content for this kind of secret thing we're working on that I'm going to be announcing at my event, that is going to be an amazing resource and tool for folks. And so that's been fantastic. And Katie is now not just, an employee in my business. She's an employee in my business, but I consider her a partner in the business. I don't make any decisions without talking to her about it. I mean, I make small decisions, but I don't make any major decisions without talking to her. I view her as, the person who keeps me in line. I view her as my coach, my friend, and also my employee. And what I can say is, if you would have asked me a year ago, what my wildest dreams for what a team would look like, it wouldn't have been this team. I don't say that. Let me say it in a different way. I couldn't have imagined in my wildest dreams that my team would be as amazing as it is. It is a well-oiled machine that gets things done. I am the biggest drag on my team. And that is saying something. But also beyond that, they are all aligned with my vision, with my core values for business, with how I want to build this business. And it's so fun because we are all rowing in the same direction, building a business that we're all proud of. And that's something that's pretty darn amazing. And again, I can't say enough how thankful I am to have the team that I do. And I can tell you, we also have Christine and Ren, who are overseas VAs, who help with things. And recently, my brother has come on in a more kind of permanent role, helping me with graphics and design. He's a designer by trade, and that has been amazing. And again, I hope for you, if you're listening to this, that you could have a team that you enjoy working with, that you have the same kind of relationship with that I have with my team, because it is amazing. So that's where I'm going to close this episode. Again, I could talk about all kinds of different things that I'm thankful for, including little things like I could talk about little things. I could talk about things happening, kind of the legal stuff side of the business. I could talk about a million different things, but I wanted to really focus on kind of the more powerful things that I thought maybe you could take something from. The first one is that I found my voice and my message, and I'll tell you, it's not easy, but when you find it, oh, wow, is it powerful. And so I would urge you, do the work to find your message, to find your voice. Then I talked about two different things that we've kind of done that are about specific things in the business, about launching this email course, because it was something I wanted to do, but I held off. I'm so glad that I got it out there. And then that I'm working closely with people, because that lights me up and I'm able to see the results in their business. And then finally, that I have built a team, and that I have been blessed, I should say, with a team of folks who are just amazing to work with in so many different ways. So those are the things I'm thankful for. I hope you'll spend some time this week, no matter what you're doing in your personal life. If you're here in the United States with Thanksgiving on Thursday, I hope you'll spend some time just being grateful and finding the things that you are so happy and grateful for in your life and in your business this year. Taking the time for gratitude is always worth your while. So that's my call to action today to you. Spend some time thinking over and coming up with your own list of the things that you're grateful or thankful for this year. And I'll see you again in my next episode. That's it for this episode of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. Make sure to tune in next time. And in the meantime, go out and build the badass business of your dreams.